All right, guys. I just want to do a quick recap of the morning session and go over some ideas for after lunch today before we take a break here. So it wasn't the most exciting morning. There was definitely some action. AMD finally got that trend going on that we were looking for in the morning, which obviously is disappointing to watch now. Um, you can see that 5 minute chart. I mean, it hasn't really had a whole lot of a correction. It had one little spot right here where it dipped back a bit, didn't retest the 25. They just made it very hard to get in unless you chased it. And man, is it ever just trending. So this is unfortunate because my plan this morning was really just to get on the long side of this trade once it gave a setup and then try to ride it out all day. I was thinking we could trend all day. I really loved the daily chart breakout level here at 1735 area. So let's just run through that plan real quick again, and I'll show you, what got me in, what got me out, and the unfortunate reason I wasn't able to get back in again. But it's a little bit frustrating, but all you can really do is just move on to the next trade. So the initial plan on AMD, and I'm just going to get rid of all the drawings here. Let's just clear the board. Going back to pre-market, I was interested in this 1715 area. It was kind of like a prior resistance that became support, then resistance. So what I was looking to do with AMD was essentially just watch for a weak open. I was actually hoping that the weak open would kind of hold a key level to give a very clear risk point, but it didn't really. It just sort of snapped down quickly. And then once I started to see the buy pressure come back in, I decided that because I thought the stock had a lot of potential for a multi-time frame breakout, it'd be worthwhile to try to get long around the 1720 area with kind of just risking off the, not quite the last lower high because I wasn't going to risk as low as 1708, but I was thinking 1710 is a nice round number, so 1709. I nibbled a little bit at 17 and 18 and I took more at 21. And it gave a really nice opening push for a few targets, which was, great. If I remember correctly, I think 32, somewhere in the 40s, and I had an order at 52. After this spike, I didn't have it initially. That didn't fill, so I sold a little more. And I kept a quarter on because my intention today was let's let this trend. I wanted to let this just hold on and then just hang on to that quarter for as long as I could. And unfortunately, I had a dip. Came back up. It was still extended on the 5 minute chart, so no ads there. And I moved my stop up to 12 after this candle touched on 12. It had one more try, lower high. The sign said to get out, so I got out. 12. Again, pretty honestly more of a small win than anything on this one. I didn't have a lot of size. And but avoided this mess. Didn't let a winner turn into a loss. Used my risk management system, covered where I said I would. But then we sort of came back a little bit, and I was gonna say I drew out a plan there that if we get back over 25, wait for a higher low, and then if it sets up, grab another flag. Something like this maybe would be perfect. Something like that. Trying to get in somewhere in there, but the only spot I see that might have been able to be an entry is maybe here, and that was just far too extended for me. Having gone from 1685 to 1735 without much of a real correction back down, it's just not usually going to yield good results trading like that. Now, if it did the pattern I just drew, that'd be fine. Looking for a flag through 30, risking off 20, that'd be perfect. So it's a real bummer, guys. It just would have been a great trade, and all the right ideas. Just what with that weakness after the bell there, wasn't able to keep me in to really ride this one out, which would have been obviously pretty much a home run trade. Even if I just kept 1,000 shares on it, would have been a big trade. So that was AMD. Still started the morning with the green trade though, which was good. Just kind of a tough one to get a hold of. AWX was just an absolute mess today. I totally avoided this one. The open really didn't give any clear signs, signals, or setups. We had a dip down to 45, and I did put a marker at 45 because it was clearly the spot where there was a lot of support holding. I was watching everything pretty closely on it because I I do still have a ton of borrows that I haven't even touched. So those may get wasted if I don't get a setup, but that's just the cost of doing business. But yeah, the big thing here is, and I think this has been happening repeatedly over and over again, is retail guys are scared they're going to miss the move and shorting into support areas, and that's just the easiest way for these squeezes to happen. Is people are watching the open, and it's at 85, and then it's at 45, and then back to 85 and 45, and it looks like it's going to roll over here, and then maybe they hesitate, and then it looks like it's going to go, and they just say, well, I took these borrows, I need to take this trade, I'm going to miss it, and they pile in the worst possible place on a super extended chart. I mean, if you think about the risk reward at this place, if you're shorting in this area, you're pretty much risking off, 85, maybe 81, 71 if you're going way tighter. But either way, 30 to 40 cents a share is just too wide of a risk for a $4 stock, in my opinion. I think that, most of the time with a proper setup, we'll be looking at setups where we can risk, 10 to 12 cents a share in an effort, to make 40 or 30, 40 or 50 cents or more. So just to me to seem like some more FOMO shorting, fear of missing out into the bid, and then once the bid caught, just everyone trampling over each other to cover, which resulted in the big spike and halt. From there, kind of like opening, resume, some more panic covering, and then you had this where it held 70, put a lower high at 85. So I mean, if you were looking at any place to short, and obviously it's easy for me to say this in hindsight, and I did not short it, but I mean, at least at this point now, there's a lower high at 85, and you're only risking 15 cents a share on that support break. I'm not saying that's an easy trade. It's not. I didn't take it. I don't technically have a short signal there, so I didn't trade it. But just to make the point clear, I mean, if you're shorting 40, you're risking off 85, then you should be playing for a huge, huge trade, and I just don't think that this stock was prepared today to offer up, a move back to 330. At least not this morning. We'll see how the afternoon goes. As of right now, just like the other day. Remember the other day when it got really extended, then it started to hold 3 way back here. Okay? Remember that $3 hold we saw right there? Remember how I was saying don't short down there because we just made a gigantic move. It hasn't had a correction yet. Once it corrects, then if it's puts a lower high and it starts to weaken up, then we can get a safe short signal with a clear defined risk area. This is the exact same thing. I mean, if the stock is from 520 to 4 in like 30 minutes or less, and then it's just hanging around down here, we're not going to be interested in shorting until it has a correction like any other stock would, and then from there we can start looking at setups maybe later today. I think the long side's probably done in this one today, but you never know, so we'll keep our eyes on it. But that's pretty much all I have to say about AWX. I have thousands of shares that I can potentially short, but I just haven't had the signal or reason to do it. And the cost of the borrows are a lot cheaper than the cost of getting your ass squeezed out, for a 80 cent per share loss. So again, I'll patiently wait for my signal. If not, then just leave it. Couple ideas for later. First of all, NIHD was a decent little setup. Nice flag over the 555 area. The volume was really low there. I decided not to trade it, but Mixolodian and a couple other guys in chat, looks like they caught that one. Again, pretty good setup. 6 cents a share risk, maybe if you got in around 60. Surprisingly, trended pretty well, I think, given the fact that it was only a 6 cent per share risk setup and the volume was really low on it, so that was all right. BSPM didn't have any borrows on it today, but it seems to be holding. The daily chart is horrendous. Really nothing I'm super interested in the long side unless it looks like it's really trapping and sets up for a long signal later. Ideally, guys, I think this would be a fairly easy short if you have the borrows. I'd simply just be looking for a lower high and a break of 60. Short the support break, risk 10 to 15 cents a share, first target 225, and then see if it can go lower. If it holds 60 over lunch and it looks like shorts are kind of getting stuck and we wind up over 90 with a higher low, as long as the risk reward is good and the setup is there, I would play it. I don't necessarily like the daily chart, so I'm going to try to avoid it if I can. But look, if the setup's there and the risk is tight and there's a good chance you're going to get a move out of it, I never discount the long side. I trade the long side equally as much as the short side and approach every stock with an open bias. Just let the chart do the talking. So, you know, other than that, TRXC was a nice call by Brennan in chat. Nice cup and handle set up for a break here through 45. This one's nice and liquid. I had a few trades in this last week with you guys, and I always enjoy trading it. Moves slow, so it's easier for you know, newer traders to follow. And when it breaks out, it usually trends for a little bit. Just nice and liquid. You can trade some size on it without worrying about slippage. So I always enjoy trading that one when we can. The other trade I took today was Facebook on the short side. Didn't turn out to be a home run trade, but a very, very straightforward short signal. I put the trade idea as usual out in chat before I entered, just to give you guys the idea of what I was looking for. And this is a really straightforward short signal. So basically, just put a line across the 176 area on your chart. And you can see here that it was pretty much the support. It's pretty much like, if you zoom way out, there's more levels like back here, support. And so this, I think that the open, you know, it was a strong open on the stock, pushing back up. But then we held 76, held it again. And I think that probably got a lot of people looking to play long off the 76 area. So I think of these just the same way as I think of any other stock. It doesn't matter if it's a $1.70, $17.60, $176, or $17,000. It's the same principles, same setups, same risk management concepts, and the exact same patterns that I play across the board, right? As you guys know, typically I prefer to trade the lower price stuff because, quite frankly, I just feel like I have a stronger edge in it, because retail traders are very naive and emotional, and they you know, it's just very obvious which levels are going to stop out at, where we can find easy entries with, you know, pretty quick in the money moves. I also like playing spreads a little bit, like when there's spreads in the bid and ask. I'm really good with the hotkeys, and a lot of years of doing that. Just really, I just enjoy them. But like I said, across the board, you can use the same setups and signals however you like. So here's the Facebook chart. So this was just sort of like about, I guess, probably 4, 5, or 6 minutes before that breakdown area. So a lot of people are probably looking at it to maybe see if a flag would come in. People, you know, looking at that as a support area would probably be interested in like playing along in somewhere like this. Maybe trail their stop half there and half at the support. But, and you know, I was open to both sides, but this is just a very obvious obvious support level where chances are, if you know, if that breaks, weak hands are going to sell, and it's likely going to give at least, you know, probably a 50-cent per share flush. The thing I didn't love about the setup is it didn't really have a big lower high behind it, so I would have actually liked this a bit better and probably taken a little bit more share size if it had just a bit more of a rounded lower high there to really clearly risk from. But I just used this little area right here as my risk and shorted right through the support, exactly as I planned right here. So that, you know, that turned out to be a pretty good trade. I didn't quite make a point on it. My best cover was, I think, 175.16. Sorry, here it is. So yeah, some good covers, good short right on the support break, and cover. I waited pretty much 45 to 50 cents to cover the first bit because, you know, again, it's a pretty big spot and there should be some panic, so just kind of covering into that panic. Lowest cover was around 175.17, I think, here, and then I trailed a little bit, that not showing in this chart. I had like a little bit left that I stopped out just over this candle right there. But yeah, overall, guys, I think that the afternoon should offer some interesting potential opportunities and setups. Let's go over a few charts, all right? So AMD, I think at this point, guys, I'm just going to say, like, unless it has a huge correction and sets up a really nice cup setup signal, probably just going to leave it. It's trending nicely. This would have been, obviously, just a fantastic, fantastic trail for us to keep that one on. Had the morning action been a little bit cleaner. I noticed that on Twitter that some of you guys re-entered that trade. You know, similar to me, took the small win, and then some of you guys re-entered it after, and if you did, big time congrats. So for after lunch, AMD, maybe just if it has like a really nice pullback and then a cup and a signal later. It's really extended here, so I'm much less interested in it at this point. BSPM, this is a crappy stock. We know it. I've shorted it many times before, but when a long signal comes along, I also go long. I mean, again, trading is just a game of numbers, and I could care less what the fundamentals say about BSPM. If people are shorting all through this area and then we get back over 290 and set up a higher low, I'm looking to get long. Otherwise, I think it's going to be an easy short for those of you that have borrows. Just wait for it to retest 60. If it puts a lower high, short the break of 60, have a tight stop on the last lower high, start targeting towards 225, and then if it puts another lower high, look for lower. So I'm open to both sides on that one. If it doesn't set up, then no trade. If it does, then we'll take it. AWX. So now this is starting to get a little more interesting because we got, a retest of VWAP. So at least, I mean, it's not even about VWAP for me. It's just a correction. We've had a huge move down, so now I want to see a pretty good move back up, maybe even a retest of 70. And then from there, we'll see if we can set up a short signal for later. If not today, then tomorrow. I mean, like I said, I definitely loaded up on the borrows today because it was day 3, and it just felt like today would be a good day to catch that short. But it didn't signal me. It didn't give a safe setup entry signal, so a complete skip for me for now. But I have those shares in the back pocket unless the setup comes later. And I wouldn't be interested much in the long side in this one going forward today unless we do some really, really big recoveries up here, find some new support, and start to set up again. BPI might be an interesting watch for later this afternoon as well. This was brought to my attention by one of our traders in the chat. I kind of liked that 11.25 area and then possibly risking off 11 and playing for the big cup. But as we approach lunch, I won't be interested in it just now, but we'll see maybe if it pulls back. See how it does later today. After lunch, it might pull back a bit over lunch, and then we'll see if it tries to set up a bigger picture sort of trade like this. It's up nicely on the day. Not really huge volume versus the float, but something to keep an eye on. What else we got? So TRXC, keep an eye on that one maybe. I think the early move was probably a good trade that Brendan mentioned, but I don't know if it's going to set up again later. We'll keep an eye on it. Blockchain stuff isn't so interesting the last couple of days. Bitcoin's sort of correcting a little bit and pulling back, so not really doing anything with this one today. We had some good trades on it the other day when it was active, but pretty much going to be just only really interested in looking at this one if we reclaim 820 at some point and start to hold again. I'll start looking at possible long setups. But we'll see. As of right now, no real interest in that one today. The rest of these are all back watches from yesterday, except for NIHD, which did pretty good on that setup signal over 555. So that's kind of where I'm at for the afternoon, guys. I'll go through a few charts when I get back from lunch, and hopefully we can catch a few more live trades into the close. Typically we have at least 1 or 2 in the morning, then 1 or 2 in the afternoon. This market's been good for afternoon trades. I've been actually enjoying the action after 1 p.m. So I'll leave you guys at that for now. Also keep MDXG on watch. A little bit under the radar, but decent little chart forming up there. We're going to keep that one on the watch list. And I'll do a deeper analysis on these charts when I get back from lunch, guys, and we'll start setting up some trades and ideas for 1:30 p.m. If you're sticking around, trade safe, and I'll see you guys after 12:45.